on the line right now, I don't want to get too deep, but on the line right now, we got Keith Anderson from the UK. What's going on, brother? How are you? Hello?
Padre, you still there?
Did we lose him?
Padre.
Well, once he unmutes his mic, well, maybe he's got his mic muted. Maybe he's doing something. Can
you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
I got some
kangaroo jerky.
Now we lost
He's
him.
like, later,
Well, it's really
babes.
cold over there. He said it's -5 right now.
Who knows?
It's really cold over there.
Seriously?
That's like here in the DFW. We closed
day.
the schools because it was cold.
Not Northwest
Come on.
ISD. We were gangsters. We stayed
And
open.
the precipitation on the roads was snow, you guys. There was no
Oh.
ice accumulation.
I know.
There was nothing.
But it's not even that. The next day it was no
we got
snow.
him back. We got him back.
Hey.
Oh.
Yep.
Hey, Padre, you there?
Oh.
We're having a hard time hearing you.
Put your hand in the air. Maybe we get better reception.
It's so cold that the phone lines across the Atlantic or the internet or however you're calling
They're
us here.
freezing
It's
on
just
the
a
way
freezing
over.
cold.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can we try to call him back, Angelo?
Oh no, you can try, but he's gonna probably try calling back here, and then we're gonna get into that you called me, I called you, try it, and we won't get anything done.
And this is disappointing to me because Keith has a really, really good message to talk about. I have much respect for this guy. He has been a faithful.
Oh,
There we are.
You there?
You back?
I am,
There
yeah.
we are.
All right. I was just singing your praises, brother. I
Yeah, to
was
get off
giving
the-
people a little introduction into some of the things that you've done. He's gone around and initiated hashtag Walk the Bridge movements, even one-offs at various locations around the UK, up around Manchester. And he's been a tireless advocate for mental health wellness, and he's out there on a regular basis trying to make a difference, help people. And it hasn't been always a smooth road for him. He has faced some adversity over the last year that he's had to deal with, but he's stayed focused on the mission. He hasn't let it deter him from going out and trying to do good things. So this is his second time, I think, on the show.
Yeah.
We had him on after he initiated the very first Walk the Bridge movement up there in Manchester, and maybe it was in Germany. There was some other place that he had done it. I can't remember now. I can only remember yesterday. But welcome back to the show, Keith. We're very happy to have you on.
No, I'm happy to be here, mate. It's Walk the Bridge was an absolutely amazing thing. We did so much up in Manchester. We did so much up in Liverpool. We got involved with so many charities, from SANS, which is a stillbirth charity, to Andy's Man Club, which is a suicide prevention charity. It's just been a real honour to be part of this walk with you and to continue the movement with you, that you guys started. But to be able to do it with a slightly different flavour, because, my background is sort of working with the homeless through various church outreach programs. That's why they call me the Padre. And then, working in sort of mental health first aid. I think, these instances of sort of trauma that you were talking about, saying, police, they come across so many occasions that can instigate PTSD, that early intervention is so key. That's what I'm all about. And Walk the Bridge is one of those early interventions where you're getting people at a point where they're ready to talk before they do go down the road of drinking or using substances or whatever path that might be of self-destruction, that we get to people when they're ready to come to us and say, you know what, I'm struggling. And to normalise that conversation as well, to normalise the fact that it's okay to struggle. I'll be the first one to admit, during COVID, I really struggled because I was one of the only members of clergy that could get into nursing settings. I saw 10, 20, 30 people die a week in front of my face. And that's difficult, but you have to be able to reach out to people and say, that is difficult. And by doing that, and by us as strong, the 99 as we call ourselves, the law-abiding bikers, the voice of reason, the people that go out and put ourselves on the line, for us to be able to say, you know what, we've struggled, that encourages other people, policemen, first responders, and even general public to just say, yeah, you know what, I've struggled as well. And I think that is so key in what we do.
Padre, we can't thank you enough for what you're doing and what, bringing the Walk the Bridge mission over there into the UK, along with a host of others. What is the response? I mean, I know we get a really good response here with a lot of our military members and first responders. What's the response over there? Because I know it's harder in the UK. You guys don't have as many services in the UK as we have here in the States for peer support or mental health wellness. So you really rely on things like this to spread the message.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like talking politics, but I'm going to.
Well,
you look at the UK political landscape at the moment. There are cuts in the NHS. There are cuts to key frontline mental health services, even though all the talk is about ending stigma. There are cuts, and those cuts have to be filled. So they are filled by, people like us, if you like. They're filled by Andy's Man Club, which was a charity started when a guy called Andy killed himself. It's now nationwide. That's hosted by facilitators who don't make a penny. It's those gaps are being filled by people who don't have much themselves giving to others. And I think that's such a loving thing to do. I mean, I wish it didn't happen. I wish the government had made those funds available to the people who really needed it. But unfortunately, it's not. But it is people like me, I don't earn an absolute king's ransom. It's people like us who don't make a lot. Like you said earlier on in the show, it's cost you X amount of money to put this show together, which in turn has funded so many different projects and given different projects the time they need to grow and the publicity they need to grow. That's a really loving thing to do. We all wish that we didn't need to do that, but because of the political landscape, we need to do that. Now, I think as regards to the response has been staggering, but it's been very, very online driven, which I think says a lot about our landscape as a culture. Since COVID, when everybody was doing everything online, now things have become online. So a lot of people who care about mental health services, for instance, tonight may well watch this program, even if they're watching it back. I know that a few of my friends have said, oh, can you record it on your phone or listen to the audio? Whereas if I was doing this service kind of thing in a church service kind of way, the way I would have done 10 years ago, people would have come to that church service and would have had cups of coffee to listen to suicide intervention. So the landscape has changed massively, and we have to change with that to make sure that our events have the maximum impact they can, even if sometimes the numbers on the ground seem quite low. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes 100% sense. And you just hit on another thing. The numbers are so low, and this year, thank God, the numbers have dropped from the previous year, where we had over 250 law enforcement suicides, to this year we had about 154. But one is too many. When you look at, we lowered the numbers in suicide, but that's 150 lives that could have been saved if proper mental health treatment was, I don't want to say available, but what was given or forced upon, because we all see the flags, we all see the signs and symptoms, but it's the stigma of not being able to talk to somebody about the mental health is where the issue happens. People aren't educated enough on how to approach somebody who is having a mental health crisis. When we ask somebody, how are you doing? And they turn around and say, I'm fine. We leave it at that. Although we know deep down they are not fine. We don't know the next question to ask. We don't know how to sit down and say, listen, I understand you're having a problem. We have to open up that door. It's not up to that person who's battling. It's up to the friends, the family, the people that are around them to open up that door and say, hey, I'm with you. I got you. You know what? I've been through it. I'm here for you. Let's sit and talk. And that's where we have to break the stigma. The mental health stigma will always be there. We have to raise awareness and education and knowledge to those who don't understand it. We have to bring this to the families who don't understand it and say, this is what you have to do. These are the trigger words. These are certain things that affect that person who is battling. And when we can bring all that together, that builds a support network around the person who's battling those demons, right? And if you have that proper support network, then you build stronger, and you don't want to take your life, and you're willing to get help because you know you have people around you who are going to help.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patricia.
I think the biggest thing with like mental health is it's, for one, them admitting it to people, because to a lot of them, they think it's a sign of weakness to admit.
This is all still new, that people are just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just that people are talking about it. So it's not a sign of weakness at all. It's a sign of bravery.
It's
when you
not,
want to
but when
speak
people are
up
going
about
through it, and like people can understand the trigger words,
Yeah.
you know, and like that little cry of help. Because a lot of people won't put that cry for help out. It's acknowledging it and then following up with that person too. Like if you have a suspicion about someone, don't just go, oh, that might have just been a bad day. Maybe just follow up, keep asking, like see what's going on. Because a lot of times they won't ever admit it. They will never it's sensitive, because there's not a right way or a wrong way to actually approach it, because everybody's situation is a little different.
No, exactly. And you hit it where, you know, if you see a lot of suicides that happen, right? You'll see 2 days before that person was smiling and happy at a party, and they you know, because with post-traumatic stress or any mental health illness, and it's not just law enforcement, it's not just our first responders, it's a lot of people out there. It's the basics. There's a civilian population that battles this each and every day as well. But
Robin Williams,
Yes.
Exactly. But you know, when you have a mental health issue, you are proficient in hiding it, in covering it around with something else. And Robin Williams did that
I want to jump
through
in
comedy.
Because Padre, I want to touch on two points. The one that Sideshow just brought up, you and one that you brought up a few minutes ago. And I think it's really important, because you were talking about helping people and all that, and then how people hide it. All right. Oftentimes, the people that provide the services to people are also hiding it. They're having their own struggles. You, Sideshow, are a prime example. Padre, you are another example. I follow you from afar, and I've seen over the last year some of the struggles that you've gone through with your own mental health. At the same time, while you're out there at a funeral trying to minister to some people that have lost a family member, or you know, some of the other situations that you've been involved in where you may not be at the top of your game because you're struggling with some mental health wellness problems, and you're stepping up, you're sucking it up, you're going out there and doing. And then the thing that you said earlier, something about the king's ransom, and I don't know if I interpreted it correctly, but basically you're doing this like we're doing it for free. I'm looking at Sideshow right now because you know, I know how many. It's got to be since I've known you, it has to be in the thousands of dollars, right? That and over there in the UK, Padre, I'm sure you put in lots of pounds or quid or whatever the heck you call it over there, right? Of your own money. I know
You did it.
Our good friend Stitch down in Stevens, same thing. You do it because you're called to it, not because
We do.
Go ahead. You can take it from there.
There's a real thing, mate, that broken people like me and you fix broken people like me and you. When there's a massive tragedy, the first thing that everybody says is, oh, I don't know how you must feel. Well, broken people like me and you, mate, go, I know exactly how you feel, and I'm going to make you feel better. Or I'm certainly going to do my damnedest to make sure you don't feel alone. I can't fix your problems, but I can stand with you and we can fix them together. And even if they can't be fixed, we can cry together, you know? And going back to suicide, the leading sort of indicator of suicide, or people, one of the leading statistics is that person felt alone. And so as somebody who's gone through mental health struggles and at times felt alone, to just reach out to somebody and say you're not alone, it all ties in together. because we know how it feels to be alone and to be broken. So we reach out with everything we've got, even if it costs us money, to say, you matter. That's the significance of Walk the Bridge, that I'm going to get up on a rainy day when there might not be many people coming, and I'm going to show to these people that may be suffering that you matter enough for me to get out of bed. And that's massive. Even if that person doesn't acknowledge that, people will see that and say, yeah, maybe I'm enough. You know, I do work with people who suffer with substance abuse, and the most powerful message you can ever give them is you are worth recovering for. You are worth effort, because you've never been told that. So, you know, that's, for me, is key. It's to say to people is, I know exactly how you felt because I've suffered, and I don't want you to suffer in the same way.
Our good friend, Padre Gordon Milton from Hunting with Soldiers, supporter of the show and been on a few times, does great things working with veterans that suffer from mental health wellness issues. He said, as you were talking, he said, many times the ones doing all the helping may need the most help of all. But then again, helping others helps in the mental recovery of those who are helping others, and I see that firsthand in my partner. Although he doesn't need help now like he did, but you know what? Even in the midst of all of that, you were trying to help people, and that just again, we don't do this for the money. It's not for any kind of financial gain. It's for our financial loss. But you call to it. You feel you just can't get it out of your system. You got to go, hey, that person's in crisis. I can help that person.
And that's what Gordon does with Hunting with Soldiers. And he brings his combat vets out there, and they go out and they get out there together. They're all like-minded combat vets. They've all been through some shit, right? And they go out there hunting, they go out there fishing, they go out there into the wilderness, and they share, you know, just that sharing experience with somebody else, that bonding. It's not even about the hunting; it's about being together with people that are around you, and that's what the Walk the Bridge mission is all about. It doesn't matter what you went through; it's that you're walking with people that understand, and you're walking with people that are there for you to guide you over the bridge of troubled waters, to use that kind of
and it kind of shows
analogy.
that like this goes across. There's no recipe for having this. Like it can be any kind of walk of life who has this. I mean, you can't look at anybody and say, oh, they're not. I mean, you don't know, because everybody can put on a front. Everybody can live their own life, and you don't know. So it just shows like all the different walks of life that have this, and to give everybody kindness. You know, you never know what battles people are dealing with in a day. So just be nice to them. They might be having a bad day, but you don't know why they're having a bad day. But be nice.
You know, that brings
Be
up.
kind.
It can be anything. Be
kind.
But that brings up the story, and I think I've brought it up many times before. We had a buddy of ours who was battling, ready to take his own life, and he went to the local convenience store. Was going to go get himself a Monster drink, and then he was going to go to the park and he was going to blow his head off. That's what he was all about. He's I don't want to say where he's from, but he was law enforcement. He did a lot of years, but he was done. He was at the end of the rope. He knew it, and he had that commitment that he was going to take his own life. And all it took was one act of kindness. A guy, as he got out of the car to go into the grocery store, opened the door for him. Just opened the door and said, "You go ahead." Mm-hmm. And I every time I tell the story about him, I just get chills, because it's just amazing that one simple act of kindness changed the trajectory of his mindset. And God, thank God, because now he provides so much for so many others out there. And if he would have taken his life that day, the world would have been lost, and so many people would have been affected. But that one act of ripple effect kindness changed his life, and that's all it takes.
It takes 2 seconds to smile at someone.
It does, man. Or you don't even have to smile. Open the door. Open the door.
Don't cut them off. Don't flip them the bird.
You know, Padre,
Exactly.
I know having Sideshow, the 99 has followed what you're doing, starting with Walk the Bridge over there. And supporting that mission. And I know it's hard. You're talking about being kind, right? When you struggle with your own mental health wellness issues, and you're out there actively going out of pocket, or you're not, at least not making any money, you know, you might be breaking even for some people, right? But when you're doing that, and then, you know, you have the detractors who are not being nice, they're not being kind, who are who are, when you're in the middle, maybe you're in the middle of that crisis yourself, and I've seen it with you. How besides, and I know the simple answer is we just suck it up and we go on. But how do you deal with that, Padre, when you're out there in the public, up in Manchester, you're very visible, but when you're being shot at, so to speak, but you're still out there trying to help people, and how do you deal with it? What do you do?
Well, I just want to go back to one point just before we go any further, before it slips my mind. You said about that guy who wanted to kill himself and he got a can of Monster and he was ready to blow his head off. All right? All the listeners out there and you guys yourself, if somebody says to you they're going to kill themselves, that's not necessarily cause for immediate alarm, all right? If somebody says, I'm going to kill myself, you say to them, okay, what are you going to do? And if they say, I'm going to get a can of Monster, I'm going to blow my head off, you make an intervention, you phone an ambulance, you do whatever you need to do. If somebody says, I've got 500 sleeping tablets and I'm going to take them all tonight with a bottle of wine, that's when you make an intervention. Because people often say, I'm going to kill myself, but it doesn't mean anything. But when somebody has a plan, there's something like 10 times more likely to follow that through. So that's at the point you make an intervention.
Good
all right?
point.
I just wanted to get that out there because that's sound advice.
It's a good point.
Regards when people shoot shots at you and people don't like you, I'm used to it, mate. You don't become a minister without expecting some flack. You know, I've had it all my life. I've had it from the church because I'm too open and I'm too accepting, or I'm not open enough, or I'm too conservative. It's, you know, it is what it is. You just get on with it. I'm really, really lucky. I've got the best bulletproof vest in the world. She's about 3 foot tall now. She's 2.5, and she's the best thing in the world. So I've got a great family around me, and when I'm having a shitty time, I come home, my wife says there's beer in the fridge, and she leaves me alone for an hour.
Nice.
I've got a great family around me who really support me in everything. Like when me and my missus got together, I said, I'm some kind of minister and it's not going to be what you expect it to be. And it never is. There's always somebody phoning me up at 2 a.m. with some disaster. And it normally is a genuine disaster as well. And she supports me through everything. So that's all I need, mate. I don't give a monkeys about anybody that says anything about me because I know the good that I do, because I get the feedback from the people I deliver it to. And people who hate on you, they're normally not into this kind of thing for the right reasons. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's a really brilliant statement, because when your neighbour's boat's rising, you don't want to burn that boat down if you're in this for the right reasons. But if you're not in it for the right reasons, then you do attack it because you want to be the brightest candle in the room, but you don't realise that blowing out somebody else's candle doesn't make yours shine any brighter. But that's okay.
Oh,
Hey,
hell yeah!
I'm stealing that one, brother. That's a great analogy.
It is, man. And this really turned all full circle too, because Paul, our guest here today, who won the auction for the Kiss, is wearing a shirt that really stands out as well, and it says "The Demons Behind Me." If you can read that, the demons behind me, and that let me see if does this
That's
give
a
a
great
reading?
shirt. Tell us about that shirt.
It says to inspire those who have or are working to overcome an obstacle in their life, and we want to motivate them to continue to achieve their goals. Demons Behind Us is a declaration to focus on the future and to keep the past behind. And
we love that.
You
if
brought
you have
this shirt,
1 foot
man.
in the past and 1 foot in the future, what are you standing on right now?
So
Fine.
you got this shirt. I guess off
I got it on Facebook.
Facebook.
My son-in-law has one like it, and I said, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And he told me about it, and I said, "Oh." And I started getting Facebook ads on it.
Once you click on it.
3 weeks ago, and then I finally said, I'm going to buy one of those shirts. So
It's a nice looking shirt.
I bought a few of them.
It's very handsome looking on you.
Thank you.
And I don't usually I usually don't do these promos, but I will, because it is a really cool shirt. And I don't know anything about this company, but I'm looking at their card, and it's demonsbehindme.com. Go there, check it out for yourself, make your own decisions. But the shirt looks like it's good quality.
Yeah, good, very good quality.
It looks
Nice
warm.
It's like something you've seen at other stores, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then the embroidery is beautiful on it.
spin.
The
Do a little
embroidery.
turn.
There you go.
Here we go. We got a little skull.
You got a little skull on
Oh,
it.
little patch there. I love it. That's
Wait,
a
is that
nice
skull
shirt.
on the shirt, or did you guys put that on there?
No, it's on there.
Oh, that came on the shirt. Demons
That is
behind
such
you.
a nice
Oh, I thought you guys put a sticker on him.
shirt.
Wow.
Demons?
Okay.
Oh, I
okay.
mean,
I never saw them. I didn't see the
Do
back
they
of
do
his shirt.
anything for
And it
women? Do you know if
complements
they
the
do anything
colors
for
in his
females?
holster.
I don't know if they do it
does.
for women or not. They may.
Well, let's talk to them.
Yeah, that is nice. So demonsbehindme.com. You got it off Facebook. Like I said, make your own decisions. We're not endorsing them or promoting them, but it looking at the shirt that you got is very it's well made and it's comfortable, right?
Very
and the
comfortable.
embroidery
Fits
looks amazing.
great.
Amazing.
So
And the ladies will like it.
Yeah,
The ladies will
like it.
It's
Definitely
very,
like it.
very sharp.
So Padre, we've seen over the last year or so the things that you've done, the people that you've helped, and your ministry up in Manchester, and when you've taken your show on the road, so to speak. So, what's coming in the future for you? What are you going to venture into?
Wow. I don't even know. I kind of decided at the end of last year that my ministry, as in church ministry, was dead in the water. The church is really changing, especially in England. And so I lost, well, I didn't lose my job, but my contract came to an end with the church last month. And now I'm working as a harm reduction sort of outreach officer up in Preston, which is fantastic. I absolutely love it. Working with people who have been failed by the mental health service, who are now, they've progressed into serious mental health problems and substance abuse issues. But at the core is that person who we could have saved with early intervention. So that's really, really fantastic. Preston is north of Manchester. I forget you're not from around here, so you won't know where Preston is. It won't make any sense to you. But Preston,
North of Manchester
Preston
works.
has a rich military history. It has RAF Wharton there, where they build the Typhoon fighter jet, which is, I don't know, it's probably comparable to the Hornet or something like that. It's a nice aircraft, and they make the Hawk trainer, which I believe the American forces use a Goshawk, which is based on the same thing. So they build them there, and then there's the British Infantry Museum there at Fulwood Barracks. So they've got a really big military kind of history there and an ongoing presence. So early spring, and I'm sure Stitch will be interested in this as well, early spring, sort of April time, we're looking at doing a veteran-specific lunch outreach event, not necessarily for homeless veterans, but certainly for vulnerable veterans, where they can come along, they can get something to eat. I'm going to try and get other people involved, like the PTSD people, Andy's Man Club, certainly other mental health services that can surround these people with the care that they need, that they might not always be aware that's there, and the other sort of armed services from the area, just for one, to give them the support, and two, to celebrate what they've done. Not everyone, I couldn't do it. I'm not cut out for military service. I know that. That's why I do a pretend job like a padre. But these guys have given up a lot, so we should be celebrating what they've done. So we're going to give them something to eat, we're going to give them a feed, and we're going to try and give them the help we need. That's sort of short-term goals. Long-term, again, I don't know. I'm reaching out a little bit into the biking world. I've stepped my toes in, as you know, with the Reapers of War, which is kind of ongoing. But I'm going really, really gently with that, because I don't want this to be like, let's all get patches. I want this to be people that are committed and dedicated to the cause. So, yeah, there's a lot going on.
So I want to just give you a quick reminder, though. The greatest minister in the history of the world didn't have a church. And he ministered to people, healing them, teaching, feeding them where he found them.
Jesus.
And that's kind of a really good example to follow. You don't have to have the four walls and a roof. You can go out and stay true to your calling, and help people wherever you find them. And that's what I see in you, following you from over here. It's very admirable what you do. You are definitely, best I can see from over here, making a difference. And I know there was some discouragement on your part about all that, and it was a rough time. But again, greatest minister in the history of the world didn't have a church. He wandered the countryside, going into the different cities and whatnot, and look at the difference that he made.
Amen.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm just getting some pictures coming in. I mentioned we mentioned the demons are behind us, right? And John Leone from Long Island, New York, Massapequa, he was on the High Seas rally as well. He chimed in and he said, he has one of those hats, the demons behind me. And he got it from the same website. So thank you, John, for sending that in, man. So obviously it is a well-made. I mean, looking at that hat as well, it looks like it's a well-made hat. Looks like all their products are pretty good. So check them out, man. We got 2 thumbs up from John Leone and from Paul here that their products are good, and it really says a message. Demons behind me. Keep those demons at bay, man. Way behind you where they belong.
And then on the shipping paper they sent with it, the receipt, they wrote a handwritten note that said, "Paul, thank you for your purchase. Look forward to doing business with you in the future." And had their names, I think, like Bo and Mark or something like that.
Wow. See, and that's good customer service. That's good customer service, man. Those are the people you want to support. You want to support those type of businesses.
So, Padre, we're getting ready to have to close out. I want to thank you for coming on the show today. We know it's late over there. Keep up the good work. Don't get discouraged because
you're going to walk the bridges Sunday.
Sideshow is asking me, are y'all going to be doing walk the bridge this Sunday over there?
So what we're doing at the moment, so we're working with the Knights of St. Thomas of Canterbury, which is another organisation I'm involved with. I'm their pastoral lead. And we've kind of tweaked, especially over the winter, because it's -5 out here at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working on a project linked to it called Hope Guard, where we contact the local authorities for local suicide spots, and we're putting up kind of signposting things like, you're not alone, it's not too late to talk, be that sort of railway stations that people have thrown themselves off, or be it bridges, because we get a lot of bridges in Britain where people jump off the bridges.
Keith, we don't really get the numbers here. I know, like the suicide rate, we hear that the suicide rate here in the States is high between civilian and first responders. We don't really get to see the numbers in the UK. Are they that high? Do you see a lot of first responders or civilian personnel taking their own lives?
I think suicide is the number one killer, the number one cause of death in men under 30 years old in Britain. So if you're under 30, the most likely thing you are to die of is suicide as a man in England.
You think that is because of the accents, or I had to throw it out there. Nobody can understand what I'm saying. I'm going to go jump off a bridge.
I can understand what he's saying better than I can understand what you're saying. Okay.
Well, listen, I'm from New York. Hey. No, I'm just kidding.
He didn't say New York.
No, but wow.
I'm in New York.
That's the leading cause of death of men under 30.
Yeah.
Now, are they in the military service, or are they first responders, or this civilian? This
general,
is just
there's general death. Men under 30, you're more likely to die of suicide than anything else.
Go back to the bridges, because we have a common bridge factor here too in Dallas. They call it the high five, and we have several suicides off the high five. Go back to the bridges. What were you saying about that?
So we have a lot of bridges. So we have what we call them motorways over here. You call them the interstate, which is over here. There might be 8 lanes, 4 going one way, 4 going the other. The bridges are quite high, and somebody will just throw themselves off it and get hit by oncoming traffic. So we've been round to the bridges that do have a high suicide rate, and we've stuck on numbers for like Veterans Outreach, Samaritans, which I don't think you have over there, but they're our sort of suicide intervention charity over here, and just messages of hope, that one last thought of like, maybe, killing myself won't take my pain away, it'll just pass it on to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So that was when I heard about Water Bridge. That was what I thought, taking this symbol of despair and turning it into a symbol of hope. And I just
Oh
thought
my
that was
God,
so
that's brilliant.
romantic.
Are
I
you
don't know.
kidding me? That's brilliant. Yes.
And that was one of the reasons I got involved in it, because I had this kind of mad vision in my mind, and I was like, let's do this. Let's turn something so bad into something so good that people will look up at that bridge and say, I remember so-and-so jumping off that, and now these people are putting flags on it. They're turning it into something that says, you're not alone.
Do you have like an annual thing out there, like an annual event where you celebrate instead? I know it sounds kind of cryptic what I'm saying, but do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
So, obviously, Waterbridge in the UK is in its infancy. The Knights of St Thomas have really supported this movement. I can't sing their praises enough. Sir Philip Guest. In fact, I'll send a link. You guys need to look it up and put it on your page, because they've just done such a wonderful thing. Philip Guest has been a massive supporter of it. He's an ambassador to some far off country. He's the most person that's most disliked me in the world. Like, he's not like me at all, but we get on like a house on fire because we have a common purpose, which is to, stop suicides and tell people they're not alone. And he's done everything he can in his power. So yes, there will be something in the summer. There'll be a massive event which will involve the armed forces, but I don't know what that will look like yet, because we're still finding our feet in England.
Well, keep us in tune. Keep us in tune. Keep us with you, and definitely we want to know.
Just as we
I'll tell you what. I think the leading cause of suicide might not be accents in America. It might be the Dallas Cowboys playoffs.
You heard about that?
My mum thought Tony Romo was her third son. I've got an autographed picture of Tony Romo on my wall.
As we let you go, Padre, I want to comment. We got a note from Emma Hodgkiss here. You mentioned the suicide rate of first responders here in the U.S. The note says 21 police officers in UK die by their own hand each year. So, they don't have the population over there that we have here, but clearly that's a significant problem. As it is here, and it does deserve our very best efforts.
Oh, yeah.
Padre, keep up the good work, man. You're doing good things. Much respect from this show, and we'll continue to follow and support you the best we can.
Yeah, and we understand about the Walk the Bridge at -5. Do what you can. Get that word out.
Make the effort, not the excuse.
But listen, whatever you're going to do, I'm sure it's going to be a well-worthy mission. A mission statement, so you'll make the Walk the Bridge project proud, and let us know how it turns out. Show us some pictures, and let's spread the love.
All right, big up, respects. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Padre.
Take care, Padre.
It's Padre Keith Anderson from the UK. He does the Walk the Bridge. He's really been essential in spreading the word and spread. He takes it serious, man. He motivates others, he inspires others, and he does good work over there.
To his credit, we didn't mention it a minute ago, but I want to mention it now. When he could have stopped because of stuff.
Well, you never let a hurdle. Don't let the hurdles.
Hurdles, right? He encountered a number of hurdles. He could have backed off and just quit and stopped doing it. Like why am I doing this? Because all I'm getting is
we're not quitters.
And he, to his credit, stuck with it, even by himself, much like someone else over there we know. I'm going to keep doing it. You cannot dissuade me. It's about the mission. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about any of you.
It's about all of us.
Them. And that's why I'm going out there and making the effort to walk. And other people they'll see your motivation is right. It's not about you. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about the guy that's struggling.
If me and you,
which is kind of what you did over the past weekend.
If me and you dislike each other, right? If me and you dislike each other and we get into a confrontation, or if we don't want to talk anymore, guess what? I'm still doing Walk the Bridge. If you're there or not, does not matter to me, because I am not there for you. I'm there for the mission. I'm there for the people.
That's right.
Right, and that's what he's doing. And you know what? I got to give him the credit, because he puts a lot into his faith, and I think that's great. And a lot of people lose their faith, and it doesn't matter what God you believe in, but if you got to have faith, and you got to have a goal and something that's going to keep pushing you forward. And people are always going to throw hurdles at you. We found that out today. You know, people, but you know,